Dr. Wang again, and in this section we will solve linear inequalities. So we have two objectives in this section. First, solve a linear inequality. Okay, this should be inequality. Secondly, we will solve compound inequalities. Okay, so first the example for linear inequality is something like 3x minus 2 greater than 0, and we solve it for x. Compound inequality, for example, 2x minus 3 less than x minus 5 less than, let's say, 7 plus x. So that's a compound inequality. All right, so let's first look at the symbols for inequality. We got less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. So when you talk about the less than or equal to, then you have one more line below the less than symbol. Similarly, for greater than or equal to, you have a line below the greater than symbol. Okay, so inequality, obviously this shouldn't be difficult for us. For example, 3 less than 5, x less than 2, 3x, let's say, minus 2 greater than or equal to 5. Those are examples of inequalities. So, they are just two expressions, algebraic expressions joined by an inequality symbol. Okay, so let's first look at how we represent a the solution of an inequality on the real number 9. So let's see, here we got x less than 2. So notice 2 is not included in the solution set. So what you do is, to represent this solution set on the number 9, first you identify 2, and then because 2 is not included in the solution, so you use a circle to indicate 2 is not included. Okay, then you draw a blue arrow toward the left. The arrow indicates any number less than 2 is fine. So that's how you represent x less than 2 on the number line. Okay, what about the x less than or equal to 2? Well, the only difference is 2 now is included in the solution set. So in this case, you use a solid dot. Okay, you first identify 2. Now 2 is included, so you use a solid dot to indicate 2 is included. And again, because you are looking at any number less than or equal to 2, so you draw a blue arrow toward the left, and again you use an arrow to indicate that any number less than or equal to 2 is fine. All right, so in general, when you solve a linear inequality, you will either add, subtract, multiply, or divide both sides by the same number or expression. Okay, so one key thing that you want to remember is that when you multiply or divide both sides of an inequality by a negative number, you will reverse the direction of the inequality. So what does that mean? Let's look at an example here. Suppose we want to solve this inequality, negative 6 less than 18, right? So of course that to solve this inequality, we need to isolate x. So what we do is we will divide both sides by negative 6. Okay. And then because we divide both sides by negative 6, we need to reverse the direction of inequality. So the direction of the inequality becomes greater than. So the less than, if we reverse its direction, it becomes greater than. So that's the only thing that we really need to pay attention to. Now, we divide both sides by -6. So left-hand side becomes x, and um, the right-hand side becomes just -3. So that's the solution to this inequality here, x greater than -3. Now to draw the solution on the number 9, we first identify -3. Now because -3 is not included, we use a circle to indicate that, and then we draw an arrow toward the right because we are looking at any number greater than -3. Okay. Compounding inequality is, for example, in this form, you actually got two inequalities combined together. For example, here a less than x less than b actually means a less than x and x less than b. So both must be true at the same time. Okay, at the same time. So that's the meaning of and. This is one example. Other examples, a less than x less than or equal to b, a greater than x greater than or equal to b, a greater than or equal to x greater than b, etc. Right? All those are examples of compound inequality. All right. So let's look at this example here. We want to graph the solution -3 less than x less than or equal to 2 on the number line. Well, the only difference here now is x must be an integer. So we need to look at just whole numbers. Okay, so this should be simple. Because x has to be greater than -3, so next larger integer is -2. So -2, notice we only look at whole numbers, -1, 0, 1, 2, right? So because it's less than or equal to 2, okay? So those are the solutions. So we can just use solid dots or closed circle to indicate those 5 integers. That should give us the solution. Okay. Now, what about the same inequality, but x can be a real number? Well, that means that we're gonna need a interval notation or interval, draw an interval on the number 9. So first of all, we identify -3, but as -3 is not included in the solution, we use a circle. We identify 2, and we use a solid dot because 2 is included, and then we just draw the line segment between -3 and 2. And here we use blue line to indicate that's the solution to the inequality or to the compound inequality. Okay. So let's look at this application problems here. So, suppose we use the regular grading scheme to assign a letter grade B. If the average grade is greater than or equal to 80 and less than 90%. So this is average grade. Then a letter grade B is assigned. Okay, so we'll assume that a student had 98 on the first test, 76 on the second test, 86 on the third test, and 92 on the fourth test. And suppose the student wants to know what grade the student has to make in order to get a B in the course, right? So this is a simple calculation here. I often am often asked by my students this similar question. So let's try to solve this. Okay, so let's use a variable x to represent the fifth grade. Okay, the fifth grade. And what we need is we need to calculate the average, right? So average equals to the first grade. First test grade is, let's see, what is that? Is 98, 76, 86, 92. Okay, 90, 98. The second one is 76 plus let's see, what is that? 76, 86, 92. Okay, 86, 92. 86 plus 92. And then the fifth, we assume the grade on the fifth test is x. So the average is just divided by 5, right? And we want to figure out what are the possible x, the grade on test 5 the student needs to get a letter grade B. So we want this average greater than or equal to 80. So let's say 98 plus 76 plus 86 plus 92 plus x divided by 5 and less than 90, right? So that's how you find out what grade you need to earn to make to get a B. How to solve this? Well, we need to get rid of the denominator, so we multiply both, actually every side by 5. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, so let's see, let me copy the inequality. Copy the inequality, and then I'm gonna multiply every side. So here I got the left side, the middle side, and the right hand side. Every side by 5. Again, the goal is to remove the inequality, right? Or remove the denominator. Okay, so I multiply every side by 5, and then there is 5 divided by 5, that is 1. And so 80 times 5, that's 400, less than or equal to, and let me calculate 90 times 5, 450. Okay, so the middle one, we can use calculator to help us. So I need to sum the four numbers together, 98 plus 76 plus 86 plus 92. So that's 352. 352 plus x. So that's this got to this step, and then I subtract 352 from each side, right? And that is 400 minus 352, that's 48, less than or equal to 352 minus 352 is 0, so x, and less than 450 minus 352, that's 450 minus 350, that's 100, but you need to subtract 2 more, so that's 98. So if the student makes a minimum of 48 but no more than 98, the student gonna get B. If student makes 98 or more, student gonna get an A. So that's the solution. Okay. All right.